Leucippus's theory, the atom is the smallest indivisible bit of stuff that's still recognisable as hydrogen, carbon, or iron. The only thing wrong with Leucippus's idea is that atoms are, in fact, divisible. Furthermore, his atoms idea turns out to explain just a small part of what the universe is made of. What appears to be the ordinary stuff of the universe is in fact quite rare. Leucippus's atoms, and the things they're made of, actually make up only about 5% of what we know to be there. Physicists know the rest of the universe, 95% of it, as the dark universe, made of dark matter and dark energy. How do we know this? Well, we know because we look at things and we see them. That might seem rather simplistic, but it's actually quite profound. All the stuff that's made of atoms is visible. Light bounces off it and we can see it. When we look out into space, we see stars and galaxies. Some of them, like the one we live in, with beautiful spiral shapes spinning gracefully through space. When scientists first measured the motion of groups of galaxies in the 1930s and weighed the amount of matter they contained, they were in for a surprise. They found that there's not enough visible stuff in those groups to hold them together. Later measurements of individual galaxies confirmed this puzzling result. There's simply not enough visible stuff in galaxies to provide enough gravity to hold them together. From what we can see, they ought to fly apart, but they don't. So there must be stuff there that we can't see. We call that stuff dark matter.
So, the question is, what is invisible? There's more of it than you think, actually. Everything, I would say, everything that matters, except everything, and except matter. We can see matter, but we can't see what's the matter. So we can see the stars and the planets, but we can't see what holds them apart or what draws them together. With matter, as with people, we see only the skin of things. We can't see into the engine room. We can't see what makes people tick, at least not without difficulty. And the closer we look at anything, the more it disappears. In fact, if you look really closely at stuff, you look at the basic substructure of matter, there isn't anything there. Electrons disappear in a kind of fuzz, and there is only energy, and you can't see energy. So one of the interesting things about invisibility is that things that we can't see, we also can't understand. Gravity is one thing that we can't see and which we don't understand. It's the least understood of all the four fundamental forces, and the weakest, and nobody really knows what it is or why it's there.
But there was more to come. Early this century, scientists studying the outer reaches of the universe confirmed that not only is everything moving apart from everything else, as you'd expect in a universe that began in a hot, dense Big Bang, but that the universe's expansion also seems to be accelerating. What's that about? Either there's some kind of energy pushing this acceleration, just like you provide energy to accelerate a car, or gravity does not behave exactly as we think. Most scientists think it's the former, that there's some kind of energy driving the acceleration, and they've called it dark energy. Today's best measurements allow us to work out just how much of the universe is dark. It looks as if dark energy makes up about 68% of the universe, and dark matter about 27%, leaving just 5% for us and everything else we can actually see.
Consciousness. I see all your faces. I've no idea what any of you are thinking. Isn't that amazing? Isn't it incredible that we can't read each other's minds when we can touch each other, taste each other perhaps if we get close enough, but we can't read each other's minds? I find that quite astonishing. In the Sufi faith, this great Middle Eastern religion, which some claim is the root of all religions, Sufi masters are all telepaths, so they say, but their main exercise of telepathy is to send out powerful signals to the rest of us that it doesn't exist. So that's why we don't think it exists, the Sufi masters working on us. In the question of consciousness and artificial intelligence is really, like the study of consciousness, got nowhere. We have no idea how consciousness works. With artificial intelligence, not only have they not created artificial intelligence, they haven't yet created artificial stupidity. The laws of physics, invisible, eternal, omnipresent, all-powerful, remind you of anyone? Interesting. I'm, as you can guess, not a materialist, I'm an immaterialist, and I found a very useful new word, agnostic. Okay? I'm an agnostic. I refuse to be drawn on the question of whether God exists until somebody properly defines the terms. Another thing you can't see is the grid on which we hang. This is fascinating. You probably know, some of you, that cells are continually renewed. You can see it in skin and this kind of stuff. Skin flakes off, hairs grow, nails, that kind of stuff. But every cell in your body is replaced at some point. Taste buds every 10 days or so. livers and internal organs take a bit longer. A spine takes several years. But at the end of 7 years, not one cell in your body remains from what was there 7 years ago. The question is, who then are we? What are we? What is this thing that we hang on that is actually us?